Audio Jungle.
G'day guys, just quick check, just checking, check, 1, 2, 1, 2, okay, I think that's alright. I just have to enable Christian, okay, just got a quick IM that's saying he's just stepping out, AFK. G'day guys, and welcome to the Wednesday's PowerShell 101 with Michael and Christian. So today we're going to be smashing out some extra pesta tests, which I've just got that sorted. And also with that, we're also going to just hopefully finish up the last Azure function today. I'll just wait for Christian to get back. Sounds okay. I'm just going to unmute you. All right. G'day, Christian. How you going, mate?
Yeah, good. Yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. So we're just going to be going through some pesta tests, trying to sort that out, and at the same time, we're just going to be working on working on this final function. So I think we can get stuck into it. Hopefully we can see how we go. So I think the first thing is for today is we'll just be what we'll do is oh yeah, Christian's on. I'll just quickly switch to screen. We'll just have a bit of a squiz at the pesta test. So I fixed I made some changes to Glenn's code in a function to invoke trap web errors, and I've just basically changed the right output. It's not ideal. I will go back and fix this up a little bit more, but I think it's workable for the time being. So what we have is we're just going to jump over to our test, which is down under the tests directory, and then we've got function HTTP start job. I'm going to rename this because G'day, Glenn. How you going, mate? Disappears back to work. Yeah. Oh, man, being 1 o'clock, mate, you'd be like, nah, I'm done. And that's probably the benefit of East Coast, is that like you finish sooner, but though you do get up earlier, so that's the detractor there. But no, it's good to see you. So as you see, I've got my tests. So basically, I've just got my other. I've been running tests beforehand. So got my Azure function running in my other Visual Studio Code window because of the workspace constraints. But that's fine. That's all good. We can just have that in a separate window. It's all good. What we're going to do here is we're just going to run our tests. So I'll just take you through, Christian, what I've changed. So I've just basically got some supporting functions that we've now using, which is basically convert to base 64 and convert from base 64. I am going to add these to PowerShell core. I've had a gutful of I've had an issue with PowerShell core not having this functionality, and I think it needs to be there. So that's going to be one of my little projects off to the side in the future. But yeah, we've got that. So these basically supporting functions in here, all they're doing is you have this one's basically this invoke trap web errors is was a function given to me by Glenn, which actually helps. It's a unique issue with invoke web requests where it can't. G'day Anthony, how you going? It can't actually capture the. It can't actually. It's really terrible at capturing getting I'm literally having a memory blank from what we did last time, but
it throws errors for 400 and 500 series errors. I'm just reading through your comment block here.
Oh, okay, fantastic. I actually did write a comment block in the Git. So the biggest issue is the fact that there's actually a couple of things that it doesn't actually support. If we go down to here, I was trying to actually capture the error output by just using error variable. that wasn't working, and I'm sitting here trying to work that out. If that causes, if it throws an error, that error variable will never get caught. So there was issues with that. So basically, we've just got this in place to be able to capture that. So that's just a supporting function, and obviously base60 to convert to base64 and convert from
and yeah,
subsequent the opposite, which is really important. So that's basically our test, and then basically what we're doing is the first part of the test is we're just actually testing our expected response. So we're looking for, there should be a response, so the there shouldn't be any issues with that query. We should be looking for a success property, that shouldn't be null, there should be a value within that. We should be looking for an error property, that shouldn't be null. We're testing for making sure that the GUID and the status properties that are within the success object shouldn't be null. And then finally, we're testing the status is actually queued. So we've tested the full suite of successes. The next thing we need to do is test failures. So basically, we're going back the other way, and so I'm sending bad data. So I'm sending I'm missing the code property from the body, and from that first one, and then I've put the computer name in the second one. I've suppressed the computer name, and it's just the code. So that basically tests those, and then finally we're actually putting an extra item in there just to see what happens and how it handles it. So that's pretty much the test. It's pretty straightforward. So we can go ahead and execute that. See how we go. So you can see those first tests, they're fine, that's all good. Second test has failed. Okay. Conversion from JSON failed with error, unexpected character with passing. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly find out why. So what we can do, so what I'm going to do here is just quickly execute this bad boy, like so. URL endpoint should still be in memory, I hope. I just quickly want to check to make sure that's still in memory. Yep, perfect. So I just want to see what this result is. Oh, okay. Okay. It has returned something completely different.
was it passing before?
It was passing in 5.1 before. That's what's really interesting.
And you've rewritten it as core.
Yeah, this is running in core, so I'm just a little confused. All right, so what we can do is we're going to troubleshoot this a little further. What we're going to do is, I didn't want to have to deal with this. I really didn't want to have to deal with this. Just going to clean this up. So it'll throw a terminating. So it's going to be one of those. What type is it? So what I'm doing now is I'm just trying to work out what type it is. It's HTTP response message. That's interesting. That's what response is. That is really weird. Okay. Off to troubleshooting land. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm just going to F9 that, and we'll just execute it and see how we go. Current. I don't want to spend too much time on this just because of the fact that we've got limited amount of time. So
yeah,
I'm going to probably spend a little bit of time on it, and then we'll go from there.
Well, I am running 5.1 on my side, so if need be, I can
You won't be able to,
execute.
hit the API endpoint, so it won't work. Yeah, restart it. All right, so we are running core, and I want to keep it as core. Like at the end of the day, though, I want to work around the issue. So I want to like obviously identify there's a specific issue here. So if we got the URM point, I'm just going to quickly put this all back in to memory, and then we're just going to kind of work it out. Invoke REST method. I'm just going to invoke. See if this is going to. I don't think this is going to work because. I'm really not a fan of how just launch current file. Will that work? No, that's that. Let's launch. If that works, I'm happy. What's it doing? Yep. Okay, that's running. Perfect. So we can just use that profile. So I've hit our line breakpoint. Wherever it is, I don't know where the hell my line breakpoint is because it actually doesn't say where it is.
Is that line 93?
Yeah, it's line 93. I would love to have an interactive debugger. I'm definitely doing something wrong here. Sorry, debug configuration. Yep, I know. Alright, what we're going to do. So the thing is that like when I do debugging in the ISC, I just run the file and then it will interactively debug, and it's just I haven't gotten to that point in Visual Studio. It's just I really shouldn't have to do that. Like I just should be able to run it and start debugging. Like I shouldn't have to do all this complicated. I don't want to attach. I think I'm going to have to attach a temporary console. This is just an attempt. Okay, host process. Because I'm already stuck in a debug session anyway. Add in line breakpoint. Let's see if I can reload it. I'll just run the current file and see if this works. No. Okay. Honestly, I'm like again, I just don't have time to deal with it. So if we just quickly switch over the IC, we can just troubleshoot this. And I'll troubleshoot that later. I just don't have time. So we can just quickly. I'll just quickly can that. Do that. Like I said, see, I can just run it. And this makes it a little easier to troubleshoot. You see it works. So it's just a versioning difference. The final one, which is actually really interesting, is it's looking for an error property and it didn't get one. So the test is working, and we can actually have a look at what's going on here. So we're expecting when we sent this. Oh crap! You can't see that because I just realized I can't VS Code share. But hang on one sec.
No, I'm watching on Twitch. It's okay.
Yeah, so you can see in the body is basically sending an invalid property. I'll just go back to the test, which is here. And that is basically, that should fail, that test should fail, but it's not for some reason. So what we can do is we need to troubleshoot why that's the case. So it's completely fine. The response is, and this is actually really interesting, is the result. We can just dump out result. Actually, we can just rerun the test and we can have a look at what the result is. when it decides to come back. Please, why is it taking so long? Probably because that's fine. That's fine. It's literally hung. Just gonna try and I'm gonna stop the test. Something's not right. That's fine though. Let's disconnect. And we're just going to here restart our function. So wait for everything to kind of come good. Debug, attach the function. Yep. Just gotta wait for it to time out, and then we can reattach. So if we rerun our test, the result is actually a success. I'm just gonna, there we go. So if we rerun it again, and then we, okay, as functions is loaded. Yep, sweet. Okay, so we can rerun our test. Wait for it to come back. When it decides, oh, okay, it's executing now. So we can see all our first results are fine. Then we get to this final one, and this is the one that failed, and you can see that's the result we got. So it's clear that basically that should be a failure, but it's a success. So we can fix that up. What we can do is now we can actually go to troubleshooting land and work out why that's the case. So let's have a look at it. So if we go back to our tests, sorry, our functions. So if we go start job. So this is a really cool part. This is one of the things I love about functions. So what we're going to do, I'm just trying to find. Ooh, this always makes it hard to troubleshoot. So I've added this. I've basically said request body.count is not equal to 2. So basically, it's if it's anything but 2. So in this instance, it would be 3. That would be a failure. So it actually would.
Yeah, hang on.
Sorry, no. So if it's not equal to 2, it's obviously will then write missing, computer name code property. I'm actually going to update this, or so that will be our first. And then what we will do, valid property. So then we can just basically say, okay, so if count's not equal to 2, which for some reason that's not working. So what we can do here, this is one of the, okay, so for us to be able to troubleshoot this, we don't care about the SQL, we're trying to get it to fail. So this line here, we can actually just comment, oops, that. This line here we can comment out. So there's an issue with secure strings with Azure Functions at the moment.
Yep.
And we can hook our debugger in here, like so. And this will reload. You can see that once I've just saved that, the function reloads. And what we're going to do now is we're going to actually, damn it, I shouldn't have done that, but we've reloaded it, so I'll actually attach a debugger. So now what we can do is we can actually test it. So the way we can test it is we go up to our test. I'm just going to execute that bad boy, and we're going to just send a bad job item down there. So I only want to send the single item. Realistically, you could actually just send a was that executing? Yeah, that's ran. Preferably, I would just run a I think I'm going to need to execute convert to JSON, convert to basics. Actually, hang on 2 secs. Sorry, I just want to make sure that convert. I just want to make sure that those functions are loaded, so I'm not kind of stuffing around trying to deal with extra things because they're supporting. We have executed it, so it's still in memory, but it's just me being pedantic. So now what we can do is we can just F8 this. I don't think it. Where is it executing it?
If you go out of the temp.
Oh, it's in debug. That's why. Derp.
Yep.
Okay. Let me just reload this. So what we can do. Rerun that. I'm gonna need to rerun these bad boys. That's fine. F8. That's fine. That's fine. Then we can go back to our test. Here we can basically rerun our test. So if we rerun this, we are now entered in. Sweet. So what we can do now, this is on our other session, we can actually just put an inline breakpoint here. And continue. Perfect. All right. So now we've hooked in. We've got all our stuff. We can actually start looking at what's going on. There's our body. Why is that not working? So if we go request body dot count, it's 3. That should work, shouldn't it? Like what? So then basically, we're doing a test object property. You know why?
Why?
I've just spotted it, but this is a boo-boo on my behalf. I'm wondering, I want you guys can actually see if you can spot this as well. Like this is a yeah, it's on 428. The reason why it's failing. So this condition's being met. Oh, sorry, yeah, this condition's not being met. This condition's being met. So what's going on there? Guys, if guys you're watching, also comment in. Like it's always good. Like there is a clear issue right there.
Originally I thought it was the not, but that has been correctly bracketed. So
what I'll do is I'll give it a minute. You guys can comment. I know that there's a little bit of a delay, but yeah, I've spotted it. So it's to do with how can it be it's to do with how they both process together. That's basically how it's producing its true or false. So for example, if I was to run this, I can actually just copy and paste this. This is one of the things I love about PowerShell. You can just copy and paste that. And it returns false. So that should return true. Why is it returning false? All right, the main reason why it's returning false. All right, we're gonna get it's because of the and. Because we're basically relying on a true outcome of the and here, and a true outcome of the and here.
it needs to be an and, does it?
No, it just needs to be an or. Realistically, we can just say it's either one or the other. Like at the end of the day, though, if there's we're testing on the fact that the count. So if there's anything more than anything other than 2, it's going to fail. Like it will regardless fail. This is actually correct. This is completely 100% correct. Those 2 properties exist, but this is sorry. This is correct in the sense that those properties exist. Therefore, this condition will never ever be met because basically of this value. So it needs to be either that or that rather than the and, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to can it. just disconnect, exit. All right, we're back to good old land. So if we change that to an OR, this is the reason why ORs and ANDs are very, very powerful when we restart it. Sorry, I'm just like sniffling away here. I think I caught a cold when I ran to volleyball last night. I was running through Bald Hills over the Pine River Bridge, and man, that road is dark, like really dark.
Oh yeah.
Like I was literally running on the path and got my phone out because I was kind of like, man, I can't see a thing. And then when I got to volleyball, I stopped and it was like literally soaking wet, and then basically I've obviously caught a cold, so fun, which is like my second cold this month. So yeah, it's either that or I've gotten flu symptoms from running, which is another thing you can get. But
Yeah.
either way. Anyway, so now
I'll just have to quickly leave the collab session, then come back in. I've got that weird dropout again where
okay, no
my
worries.
side just doesn't update.
Yep, no worries. I'll send you another invite.
No, the odd one should still work, right?
Yeah, should be fine then. Yeah, all right. While you're doing that, I'm just gonna run this test again. So we're gonna hit our test. Actually, I'm gonna stop the test because I actually want to just run it because that's the right thing to do. This test should pass now. That error should be fixed. So while we're waiting for this, yeah, I'll just accept. And I'll give you a rewrite. We'll just wait for that test. Oops.
I have no idea why that keeps happening.
So this thing is really slow, I found. Like, you can see that it is executing, but for some reason it's just really slow. It's actually quite annoying. Just gonna stop it and relaunch it. Oh, I don't want to debug. This drives me absolute bonkers. Remove all breakpoints. Wait for a couple of minutes for it to refresh. Then we can relaunch our functions. Once we've done that, then basically, yeah. So the final thing that we're going to do today is, which is going to be a bit of a speedy process, also going to be a bit of document homework for you, in conjunction with the pester test as discussed beforehand. So we're going to finish the final function for this process for today. That's the goal. So I'm just going to quickly rerun this test. If it's actually going to decide to come back. 7071, isn't it? Yeah, it's fine. Square, that's all legit. So while we're waiting for that, we might as well get stuck into the next part. So let's start thinking about the next part of this final part of the function. So we've done the client side, we've done one part of the server side, and we need the final part of the server side where the service itself will send job information back to the Azure function. So what we'll do there is we will obviously need to write another function. So man, I don't know what's it doing now. Like literally it's just decided to completely hang up. Like it is not executing anymore. I think it's hung on. Oh, I know why. You know why? It's because of that.
Do share.
It's because I had the wait debugger in there. I'm like, why is this not working? And I realized I had a wait debugger in there, and it's obviously waiting for the execution to complete. So now if I execute it, there we go. Oh, okay, 400. That is weird, but we can see the second one's fine. I'm just gonna relaunch it. Oh, okay. Now we've got error in context block. block. Why is there an error in the context block? What did I break? What did I break? I've broken something in that test now.
Isn't that how it goes? You know, you have 99 bugs in the code, you patch one bug, and you get 127.
Yeah. We'll just quickly have a look at that. So that should work. The only thing I can think of is there's something weird happening. Like obviously it was working beforehand and now it's not, so that's always fun. Request method, content type, application JSON, body. It's completely fine. So what I'm gonna do is just gonna drop that. It says it's a 400. What's your URL endpoint? I'm like, what's wrong with that? It's completely fine. What is wrong with that? And what are we catching in this invocation? Why are we catching? Why are we catching? Yeah, there's something wonky about that now. Why? Why is it now? Let's just quickly troubleshoot it. It's not a bug if you don't test for it, hint hint. Yeah, I know. But the problem is, it was working and now it's not. Like, we make one change to the function itself, and then everything else just completely explodes. Like, oh my god. That is just fantastic. I'm just gonna just like do a get on it to see what it does. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Alright, alright. I'm leaving it for today. I literally just do not. We've obviously got to push forward with this other change. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop. Control C this, shut it down. Yeah, yes, I canned it. Oh, sorry guys if you can hear Bub next door, because yeah, she gets overly excited. It's really cute. Okay, so what we're going to need to do now is we're going to need to create a new one. So we've got our, well, life happens. Yeah, it happens. I think, yeah, for that one, I'm just going to troubleshoot it off camera. I just can't be bothered doing it now. Well, like, obviously, I'm trying to teach Christians something. So, so what we're going to do now is we've got HTTP request, HTTP receive. And we need another one, which is basically sending data back from the server. So what do you reckon we should call it?
HTTP send. Or HTTP post.
Maybe HTTP submit. Presents. Oh no, that's for approval. I'm just looking at. Man, ping has its own verb. Wow. Okay.
How do I view that list myself?
You can just do get verb. I'm just thinking. I think I'm gonna have to say like the closest is like there's no real send actually. I think it's gonna have to be submit. That's what I'm thinking. Alright, so what we're going to do then is I'm just going to create a new folder.
There is one for send.
Is there?
Yeah, it's under communications. You've got connect, disconnect, read, receive, send, write.
Okay, perfect. Yes, send it is. Send it. Alright, so we're just going to go HTTP send job. I'm just going to grab all the data in here, Reveal Explorer. Do this HTTP send job.
Are you doing that on the live share side?
Yes, this is on live share. Okay, so first things first. What do we what kind of method is it going to be?
It's going to be a post.
All right, you can update that.
No, I can't because mine's not updating. Are you sure it's in the live share side? Because you had 2 windows open, remember?
Yeah, that should be. Yeah, on
There.
There you go. It's under oh sorry, I was in the I was on the other one. So it's going to be a post, so you can update that. Okay, perfect. Next thing, over to run. So this is obviously my testing, terrible testing. I'm just gonna do that, do that, do that. What we're gonna need to do, the first things first, is we're going back and working out what we're sending up. So the first thing is that how are we going to send our data back? Are we going to bulk it? So we're going to batch it, batch our data back. Are we going to send it back bit by bit? Like how do you reckon we're going to send the data back? Okay, I've just got.
So, bit by bit, you mean? So as each step completes, you would send that back, or?
Well, yeah, and this really comes down to do we, from a service side, when the response is sent back, do we just send back just that response, or do we batch it all up and send it in one big hit? So if there's, and it depends on how the C# service works locally. So what I mean by that is currently at the moment it's configured it'll run asynchronously. So if it receives 5 jobs, it'll run those 5 jobs, and then depending on this, will depend on how it sends it back. Give me a moment. I'll let you have a bit of a think of that. I'm just going to go downstairs and grab some cough lollies. Alrighty, focus me. Alright, I'm back. Alright, where's right host? Oh no, is he used right host? The puppy dies. Where's right host?
Yeah, you're right host. AFK, be back soon.
Oh, I'm sorry, Glenn. I'll try I'll try and use out file next time. How'd you go?
I was thinking it would be better to wait till the job completes and send all the results.
So, okay, that's fine. It's your project. So, all right, that leaves the first thing. How are we going to I want you to start now working out what your inputs are going to be.
Right.
Just work with JSON. So work in JSON like as a bit of a body.
Oh, I was just saying what the script will do first.
Yep. Okay. I'm just gonna check my phone for a sec. My father texted me, so I've got to kind of ask what's up.
And yeah, like you said, we are using JSON, so
Yeah.
what did we call that? It was
You're looking for the right output. Oh, sorry, you're looking for the output of the content? Is that what you
yeah. I'm just looking at the response bot is what we called it.
Okay. How are we going to structure that now?
What do you mean? Like, as in, how would we send that back?
Like what kind of, like if we're using JSON, how are
Yep.
we going to send that data back? So, like let me give you a bit of an example. Get you started. Like I'm kind of just spitballing here, but I'm just having a massive memory blank now. I'm literally having a memory blank.
Oh, and of course we need the
Alright, I'm eating a cough all you guys.
Yeah, you know, you're not meant to chew them, you're meant to suck on them, right?
Yeah, I just like to chomp on everything. And it gets to a point where I'm like, no, I'm chomping on it. Okay, so so what we're gonna do here, we're gonna work out our body. So we're gonna need to send a body back of something. So
Well, would we send back the would the whole item be called response body?
Give me 2 seconds. I need to go have a look at some JSON. I'm just
Yep.
having a massive memory blank for some reason. I've got some JSON lying around this PC. Scripts, data, users, files. There we go. Okay, perfect. So
Yeah.
so we got GUID.
That's what I was thinking of. Good computer name.
Question, would you need the computer?
As in that. Well, I suppose if you've already got the GUID there, you wouldn't really need the computer name, would you?
That's exactly right. Like the GUID's basically only. The computer doesn't really care about that. I don't even care about the GUID.
Yeah.
So.
So I suppose that would be more from a usability perspective. You would include the computer name for the easier identification.
Yeah, so like when you for a computer, like the computer names its target, so it's obviously running on the target. The target doesn't care; it's only just running the job. So
Yep.
from a like it doesn't really need to have the computer. So the only thing it needs to care about is the actual GUID itself. So that would be your next thing. So what do you think so this is going to be our example JSON, but there's a key problem with this, which is the fact that it's not, how we're going to be able to adjust that JSON now so that it's going to be able to support multiple responses, and we can batch the entire item up. What do you think?
Oh. No, I need to go and look at what how to add JSON and the like.
Oh no, don't worry about the JSON itself, but how would you batch that up? Like, what would you do if you're basically sending the job back? Like, in terms of what process in your mind, if you wanted to have, let's say you've got 4 jobs, how would you send those 4 jobs back? How would you encode those, each of those responses in a body? How would you do that?
Ah. You'd have to add a divider, say job 1, job 2, etc. But I was more thinking along the lines of, even if you have 4 jobs, each job is sent back separately. That's what I was thinking. I thought you were referring to each job has multiple tasks inside of it.
No, each job doesn't have multiple tasks, but the computer can receive multiple jobs. So
okay, so in that case, yeah, it would only complete one. Say it would complete one script, then post the results.
Okay, that's cool. All right, that's perfect. All right, we'll just leave it there. So if you wanted to actually do batching, you would basically just you would have multiple. So you would do something like that, and then you just wrap it inside a.
Okay.
I don't think that's accurate, but it proves the point. So basically, you've got an object, and then it's obviously each of those within an array. So we just I'll generally just call it a collection. But because we're only dealing with one, it's one job, one response, which is perfect. All right, what output do you reckon it should be?
As in, when it gets sent to the server.
Yeah, so server send a post back, and we obviously need to be able to handle it. What output do you reckon we should have in there?
Oh, well, GUID again. Status code. Well, it's essentially the same thing.
You reckon?
Well, if you're trying to get the results from the server.
The reason why the server's basically sending it, this is going to just be more for sanity checking. So if there's something that went wrong, we can use that as a retry. So for example, if it's a legitimate failure, so for example, SQL dies, we can post back an SQL error, which means we can actually tell that job on the server to hold off and try again in 5 minutes. So you don't necessarily need an output, like it's not needed, like you kind of like we can just blindly send data back, but if you wanted to be 100% sure, you could just have confirmation. But at the end of the day though, it really is going to come down, to be honest, I think it's going to just add a lot more work on my side in some sense. Actually no, I just put inside a while loop in them until it responds as success. So what I would do here is basically I would just do something like this. and that's it. It's either success or failure. It's going to be a true or false.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, it'll just be a true, whatever. So if it's, or you could just go, you know, success, boolean. If success is false, it's a failure. If success is true, it's successful. So, all right, now we've defined our input and output, and we can actually start writing the body. So let's start. I'm going to go grab the boilerplate code, and that'll get us started quickly. So I've added invoke SQL.
Yep.
Query, test object property. Really, that's all we need. We're not going to be in conversion to base, like we don't need to convert to base 64 or anything like that, because it's just like we're not encoding anything. It's just passing through, and the client's going to do the decoding for us. So that's really all we need. So we've got our now we're going. So we've also got our main set of code here. I'm just going to space this out now. We need to kind of work out what we're going to do. So we've got a job back. So what do you reckon we're going to do?
Sorry, just checking something.
Yeah, that's fine. You guys are watching as well, you can help out. Like, it's always good for guys to comment and provide input. For you guys who are watching at home and actually not sure what we're talking about here, is that we're writing a remote execution bot. So basically we have using Azure Functions preview PowerShell. So we have a C# service running locally on a machine anywhere on the internet. We have our local machine, and we'll actually be able to send jobs to that machine and via Azure Functions. And that will basically use as a medium to send PowerShell jobs to execute locally, and then obviously pass that result back. So what we're working on now is that result pass back from the C# service to the Azure function. So that is basically the HTTP send job component.
Okay, and that's for the remote. Yeah, the remote PC, not the local one.
Correct.
Okay. So it's finished executing.
So what I wanted to do is let's break this down a bit. So basically, the first thing we obviously need to do is we're going to need to do our standard checks.
The test objects, make sure there's no errors, that kind of thing.
We need to validate the inputs correct. That's our first step. And this is really now the second step. I'm even gonna fill in the hard part, because basically the hard part is quite, obviously if you're trying to get your head around it, it's quite difficult. What we need to do here is basically we've got the data now. The data checks out. So at this point in time, right here at 413, we can assume the data is checked out based on the fact that we've tested the data set. So the next part is basically we need to actually write the data back. So what we can do here, I need to go fetch SQL. Ooh. That's why it didn't work, guys, because I commented that out. That's why the function didn't work, because I introduced a bug. Just spotted it. That's why. So that test we ran before was actually legitimately failed. It wasn't the test itself, it was the function. And the reason why it failed was because I commented out the SQL password, so it could actually connect to the SQL server. So lesson learned. Anyway, so I'm gonna do is just rip some of this out, like so. I'm just gonna paste it. So, it's mostly like you can see here. Like all I'm doing is I'm like a lot of the code is just reusable. So,
Yeah.
So you've got okay. You can clean that up. I want to get you to clean that up because we've already defined the input. So we're testing for the input. I did actually write a stop function somewhere.
Yeah, that's under the actual stop function is down under functions.
Is it?
Yeah, under the PowerShell script section.
Update trace log with error. Get error. Okay.
If subject.
Error message trace. So as long as we've okay. So what we can do here. Oh, what the? No, don't start a discussion. Okay, perfect. So what we can do here is I'll get you to clean that up. I'm gonna need to clean some of that up too because I want to put a stop function in there. It's accepting an error record. Okay. Just gonna try something. I'm not sure if that's going to accept it. That's fine though. That's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean this up. Like so. So clean that up. So now we're going to basically I just quickly want you to get you to go down to 476. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to go to W3 schools because it's only the greatest. If you guys you guys haven't used W3 schools, I definitely recommend you checking it out. Why is apparently it's running, but it's not.
What line was it? Sorry,
476.
Yep.
Okay, so I just need to have a quick look in SQL set. Okay, so we're going to be using the SQL set statement to update the values within SQL to write back into SQL. So we're going to use the set command, which is used to update, which is used with update to specify columns and values that should be updated in a table. So basically, here's our example. Perfect. So what we're going to do, this is SQL as an example SQL. You can see there we've got update customers where set contact name, Alfred Schmidt, City Frankfurt, where customer equals ID. So what we're doing is basically we're updating a table, so we're specifying the table.
Yep.
We're setting the values contact name and city. Obviously, it's like any setting a variable. However, what we're doing is we're saying whether customer ID is equal to 1, which basically corresponds to the ID if you've got 1 as a customer ID.
Yep.
So let's put this in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to update. I'm not going to expect you to understand this, just like this is, you know, quite
I know
SQL,
SQL's a bit beyond me at the moment.
So then we're gonna go set. Actually, should have. What we're gonna do is have a quick look at SSMS. I need to have a look at the schema.
Yeah, I better make sure all the names and the like are correct
Well, that's
throughout.
exactly right. Like I generally, I'll check the schema before I run it because then if I know it's correct. So just waiting for SSMS to open. Can't believe I got sick. Like that's from a run. But to be honest, though, I
Yeah,
should have took a towel and like toweled
well,
off.
a towel, and then I suppose the jacket for when you start cooling down.
Well, yeah, exactly right. Like I was freezing. Then I had to put my long sleeve shirt back on, but I was soaking wet. So yeah. Anyway. So first thing we're gonna do is select top 100. We're just gonna see tons and tons of SQL entries in here. That's just because of the tests. Obviously this is not
Of
gonna.
course, because we've run a lot.
We have run a lot. So if we do a select top 1,000. Wait for it to come back. Azure SQL is very. It's like I'm used to local SQL, so it's really quite quick. But Azure SQL is so much slower. That's just because it's obviously got to go talk to the internet. So you can see here we've got tons and tons of results. So we've got our I'm just going to quickly we're going to be working with the GUID and the output CLI.XML. Status, these are the three we're going to be working with: status, output, CLI.XML, and GUID.
Okay.
So this is how it's going to work. So we're going to basically say update DBO remote code execution. Then we're going to go set status is equal to index value 0, comma, set output CLI.XML equals 1, like so, 1, and then we're going to say where GUID, I really use that in a really super high voice, is equal to this, which is going to be 2. So now we can actually define our results, which will be we're going to have, if we go have up a look at our inputs up the top here, grab that, scroll back down here. This is what I do. If I'm working on something, I'm just going to go grab the inputs and then just copy them down because it makes it easier to, rather than looking around.
Yeah.
So we're going to basically say is equal to, so the first one is status. So status code. So this instance, it's just like all we're really doing is just passing through the values. So it's going to be request body.status code because request body is the body of the postback. Why is that? Oh, I'm going to do that like that. The next one is going to be request body. And what's the next one going to be, Christian?
Request body dot response body.
Yep, bang on, perfect. So it'll be response body. What do you reckon the third one's going to be?
Request body dot status. Dot GUID.
Perfect. GUID. Now I actually just thought of something. What happens if the PowerShell job actually executes something and it like there's actually no response? Because at the end of the day though,
well, then it would come back as a null and throw an error.
No, it actually won't. Output CLI.XML accepts the nulls. I just saw that, so I was like, okay, that's all right. We're fine. I thought there was a potential bug there, but there's not. So that's basically our SQL parameters. So you can see there, we've basically now pull the SQL. We're just gonna do this. Like so. We're going to write back. So you can see here we've got, we're going to write back it. We need to pull the SQL password. That's fine. That's pulled. That'll go.
So do we need to pull the invoke SQL query into there?
Yes, so that's basically down here now. So what we did is we defined the parameters and then we're just splatting them in.
Okay.
It just makes it a little easier because at the end of the day though, I didn't really want to have to go like, it's just from a readability point of view. You don't go, query / command text, all that / server name, all that. Like, it's easier to have it, as readable as you possibly can. So
Yeah,
in this
so
instance,
you specify it and then splat it.
yeah. So we've invoked our SQL query, and we're basically assuming the response is good. What do you reckon our response body is going to be?
Response body should be the output.
Okay, I want you to drive there.
Okay.
While you're doing that, I'm going to what I want you to do is I'm just going to get you to drive. So what I do, this is going to be the output that we're sending back to the client, alright? So
Yep.
what I'm doing is I've just pasted down below it. They're the two expected outputs. So what do you reckon the expected output's going to be there?
Oh, true. If it's status code okay and all that, it would show up as true, right?
Well, yeah. But what's the property going to be called?
Oh, the property.
Yep. And you can then what in this at this line right here on 504, is it successful? Is it not successful?
It should be successful.
Why is that?
Well, your try, invoke it. Status code okay, so
Are you
at
sure?
least. No, I'm not sure. Not at all. I'm winging it, as it were.
Yep, that's fair enough. Okay, so I want you to step through the code. Right, go back to 496. So obviously in 493, 494, we're invoking the SQL query to add to the database.
Yep. So it says try.
Yep. So what does the try catch do?
Try catch looks for errors.
Yep.
So in that case, so if you're trying it, it invokes it. Invokes SQL params. Sets the status, sets the response body. The response body should include success. So the success property.
Why should it be success?
It should be a success because the catch is there to get it if it fails, right?
That's exactly right. So we know it's a success because it hasn't been caught. If it's not a success, the code will never run. So at that point in time, after 501, so after 499, if the execution still continues within that try block, it's a success. Now, admittedly, you still have to make sure that your 502, 503, 503 to 507 is formatted correctly, because if it's not, it'll fail. But the anticipation is now the logic flow is success. So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. What have we broken? Something's not right.
We've got those are both correct. Oh.
Yep. What else?
Take that up. So that one. So that's that try catch statement fixed.
Okay. Can you format that, please? You should format it.
As in the catch statement.
Yep. While you're doing that, I will.
Just neaten it up a bit.
Yep.
I don't know. That's wrong.
Oh man, it was killing me too, mate. It was killing me too. But I'm just kind of obviously trying to get the cogs turning. It's gonna take some time to get those cogs turning, Christian, but eventually you'll be once you get logic flow, you'll obviously you're starting to get a bit of an understanding.
Yeah.
But once you get really good understanding, then logic flow really, those cogs will just they move much easier. You don't have to sit here grinding away.
Yeah, I'd say they're rather rusty at the moment.
Oh, they're brand new. You haven't even broken them in, so. So that's pretty much it. In terms of what we need to do. So if we go back up to the top, which is at the 437, getting the body of the request body. You've done object test property. We're looking for GUID, response body, status code.
Should this here, the on line 456, instead of saying status, should that say status code?
We don't even need that. That can go. The reason why is it's completely unused.
Righto.
Get rid of that. It's kind of like something like that. It's a little cleaner. Right back to SQL. So basically, we've done our checks. Right back in the SQL the results. So we need to pull the SQL passwords, the key vault. Define the parameters. So update blah, set status to that, apply XML to that, where GUID is that. So basically literally just passing through. There is, as you can see, Christian, there is no moving parts. It's all literally just pass through.
Yeah.
Then basically we actually try and invoke that SQL query. If it fails, it's gonna bomb out. And if it does, we'll just obviously there was an SQL error. Now
there was an SQL error?
No, actually, this is the thing, because we're only we're not actually it's pretty bad, but we're actually going to do this. So this will actually cause issues with our tests in the future, and the reason why is because we're expecting two values. We're expecting a true or false from success. this is something abnormal, which means basically it'll be pulled up on a test.
Yep.
So success is going to be false. I actually don't even think I used stop. I'm going to biff it. I'm just going to biff stop function. If we're not using it, there's no point having it there. It's just a waste of lines. Same one there. That needs to go. It's going to success is false. And that's about it.
Okay.
I think there's not really much else. It's on its brightest. I think there's not really much else that we need to add. So I think that concludes it for today. Actually, we've got everything we needed to get done.
We wrote 490 lines of code that simply mean a pipeline.
I'm gonna say pipeline, but it's pretty close. We're just passing content through. Yeah, very basic. This is, in essence, this is really simple function. Like, there's not really anything that we need to do there. But I think this is actually a really good outcome for today. Especially we got some really good, like, we didn't get distracted by Glenn, which was really good.
Thanks for working, Glenn.
Yeah, thanks for working, Glenn. At the same time, though, oh, thanks, man. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, that means a lot. I was being very nice. Thank you. I've taken your advice, being on board, being fun. I think that's pretty much it for today. So, what we're probably going to be doing in like Friday, I'm not going to be streaming Friday. Even I've got an event for Friday, but I'm not going to be streaming Friday, so I'm going to postpone that. But basically, what's going to be happening is I've got to write tests for all these. I'm going to give Christian the job of writing some tests. So that's Christian.
Woohoo!
Yeah. You can just kind of mosey on and do them. Obviously, it's going to be really hard. You've got examples there, but at the same time, you can just ask me questions. That's fine.
Yep. Just in case, do you want to throw that link to the Brispug Pester Talk into the chat?
Oh yeah. Totally forgot about that. Yeah, Mitchell did a talk on that. I just totally forgot about that. Give me 2 secs. Because we're not famous enough to have our own actual URL route, so we're basically we just can't go youtube.com/PowerShell Brisbane PowerShell user group. We have to go through this way. So let me see if I can find.
I copied it through into your Discord chat last week. Remember?
Oh, okay. Yes. Sorry. Well, hang on. Give me 2 secs. Where? Did you?
I'll just resend it.
Can you resend it? No, that's some random one. Oh, that's me just sending. Okay, so this one is a meetup. This is done by Mitchell. Just doing a pester testing. If it's going to play.
Streaming now.
Oh,
Checking clock.
we're working. Okay, sweet. So I'll just quickly share this link. Chat, and it's probably going to bounce around because Restream.io is like awesome with that. Yep, there we go, and it will replay it across. Anyway, so it's really good. Definitely, definitely check it out if you want to. I think, yeah, that's pretty much it for today, guys. I think we've finished on time, which is fantastic. It's like, obviously it's a first. But one thing I want to do before we go, is I'm going to jump back in the IC, and I'm going to run that test again, because I honestly think that test will work now. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in. I'm going to launch it, and we're going to rerun it, and I bet you it's going to work this time. And the reason why is because
You haven't commented out that line.
I haven't commented out the SQL secret, which meant it could never actually do it. So, which makes perfect sense. So, if I just go back to recent, pest state, that is definitely not it. Test. So if I rerun this,
You want to just focus on the scene.
Oh yeah, sorry. Screen. So this is sending its initial. Look at that. All tests passed. All tests passed. So, good day today. All tests passed. We fixed those issues. We've obviously found some bugs, and we've wrote a new function. So, I think we're going to leave it there for today. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you indeed.
Yeah, thanks for supporting the stream. If you guys really liked it, make sure you subscribe. And that really means a lot to me. I hope you see you guys next time. It's probably going to be next week. Yeah, probably next Wednesday. I'm not going to be doing any other streaming this week. I've got to finish a chapter for the PS Community book, which I'm 90% there. I just need to kind of knuckle down and get that last 10% out. So that's where I'm at. But I hope to see you guys next week, and hope you guys enjoyed it, and yeah, see you guys next time. Anyway, bye for now.
Bye.